This is REDRING TV.
Hey, my name is Jalango, Member of Parliament, Langata constituency, and I am in the REDRING TV.
Mambo vipi watu wangu wa nguvu, kama kawaida ni kijana wako kaka J.
Kwa majina naitwa Honorable Clinton Nyawanga.
Uchugeto President.
Make sure that you subscribe.
Siku zote tune in into REDRING Media ili uweze kupata uondo wote.
Kindly like, follow na pia comment
and press that notification button so that you can be able to enjoy beautiful interviews.
Yes, good afternoon from wherever you're watching from. My name is Tony Blair. Welcome to this week's edition of Face to Face with the Gen Z. And today we are talking about the media. We want to talk about the responsibility of the media. That is responsible journalism and media accountability. And so we are going to look at what the young people think, what responsible journalism looks like for the Gen Zs. But also we have got a panel that will help us unpack. We also ask ourselves the question of, can the media set a political agenda? Do the media also have responsibility of reporting accurately? And so we have got Gen Zs in the house, karibuni sana, and at this moment I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves. Tafadhali nikupatia nafasi, please be open. Let us engage respectfully. Usiogope chochote, this is your show, sawa sawa? Yes, so and at least sema jina yako, tell us where you come from, what you do, but also tell us kama icebreaker tuambie one ministry na the cabinet secretary responsible.
Well, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to be with you at REDRING Media today. My name is Ochola Alphonse Odhiambo. I come from Siaya County, from a constituency called Rarieda at East Assembly Ward. I am an actuary by profession, and I hold a bachelor's in actuarial science from Jomo Kenyatta University. Well, by the CS, let me start by mentioning the expert himself, Honorable John Badingongo. He is the CS for National Treasury and Economic Planning. Thank you so much.
Asante sana. Hapa tuna clocking by the way. Unajua?
Thank you very much. My name is Chief Tada Otieno. I am an economist by profession. I did economics and finance from Kenyatta University. And I am a politician. And I'm a Christian. My political party, I subscribe to a political party. My political party is KANU, Kenya African National Union Party. And I'm a voter in Nairobi. I vote in Starehe constituency, Pangani Ward, Pangani Girls High School. And I'm currently serving as the chairperson, KANU Nairobi branch, and deputy president, Bunge la Mwananchi. The CS is Ali Hassan Joe, CS for mining, blue economy, and marital affairs.
Wow, thank you so much. You are a sharp student. Yes, Ella.
So, hello.
Hello.
My name is Emanuela Jumo. I am a student at the Technical University of Kenya. I am in my second year. I'm pursuing analytical chemistry. On top of that, I'm also a student leader. I'm the female faculty representative for the Faculty of Applied Sciences and Technology. Touching on something I think I'm quite passionate about, I'll most definitely mention the CS in charge of gender, arts, and social heritage, who is Hannah Cheptumo. I think I have it right?
Yes.
So, thank you.
Thank you so much. Amani Joshua.
Thank you so much. My name is Amani Joshua. I'm a student leader at Kenyatta University. I'm also a youth leader. I'm also affiliated to Linda Mwananchi, a movement. I'm there as the National Youth Coordinator, Linda Mwananchi Young Patriots. To the CS, I can just applaud the CS for livestock and agriculture development, CS Mutahi Kagwe. That's all.
Wow, asante sana. Clock it, eh?
Okay, hello.
Hello.
My name is Hina Cherop. I'm a third-year student at the Technical University of Kenya. I'm also a model. Okay, the CS Adendwale, CS for health.
Okay.
Yeah.
Clock it.
Hello everyone.
Hello.
My name is Ambrose Michura Albert. I am a renewable energy engineer specifically specifying on solar PV. Under CS, because I also like defense so much, Ministry of Defense, I point to you. Thank you.
Top.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I'm Otieno Daisy, final year student at the University of Nairobi, School of Education with the focus on English literature. I'm a teacher not just by profession, but by calling.
Wow.
Yeah, for the CS, I think I'll go with Foreign Affairs, Dr. Musalia Mudavadi.
Okay. Wonderful. Let us clap for ourselves. Hiyo katuna. Amtaki hata kujiklapia jamani. Thank you so much. I think that was very, very well captured. And at this moment, Pia, we have a very good panel who is facing the Gen Zs today. So, Mheshimiwa Martin Ogendo, maybe you can introduce yourself for those who do not know you.
Oh, yes. And I think none of them know me. My name is Martin Ogendo, and former MP for Angwe. And I skipped the youth part of politics, so I just became a leader direct. And my CS is the CS for energy, Opio Wandai. I've tried, yeah?
Yes. Ama kuna mtu alisema asishike hiyo. And then finally we have the convener himself. Mwalimu.
Yes, my name is Odoyo Owidi. I am actually the Odoyo Owidi. My favorite CS is the Gen Z CS, Mr. Muga of Water.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause because we have a full house today. Na mkwe na psych jamani, msikwe na wasiwasi. This is your show.
Tuko juu.
Sawa. Psych kidogo si ndio? Yes, so thank you so much for that round of introduction, and we'll get right into it. Na nitaanza kusana na nyinyi majenzis, you'll tell us what you think, because tuko in a country whereby today we have got certain media houses zenye wanatoa news, and they are also owned by individuals who may be having political interests. So with that comes a lot of, sometimes kuna propaganda, sometimes people report inaccurately. So at what point do you hold these media houses accountable? How many of you go beyond just looking at the headline and Uliza, by the way, is this news factual? So I'll start by asking you people, what is your primary source of information wewe kama Gen Z? Like, ni gani yenye una rely on sana, yenye ukiona hii najua, this thing seems to be true, because pia kuna a lot of propaganda, sini ukweli. Utasikia sijui what has happened, this has happened, but where do you verify? So we look into propaganda, tutaangalia misinformation, tutaangalia tu pia media that want to set an agenda. Si hizo pia ziko, that if I disagree with you and because I own this media house, tunaanza kufanya nini? Yeah, so maybe tuanze tu na wewe hapa Alphonse, unaweza tuambia wewe source yako ya information inakuanga gani?
Well, thank you so much, Tony. I want to reflect on the latest occurrences, especially during the process of formulating the finance bill budget. When the first draft was made public on 6th July 2026, there was a website for the National Treasury. I think they made that document public there.
Yeah.
And as we developed, as we progressed, you realize that even the finance bill itself was made public at the website under the National Treasury. So you realize that someone said that if you see a green document, then it is a document that belongs to Parliament. And if you see a yellow document, it's a document that belongs to the Senate, ideally. So what happens is that if you, in fact, most of those documents are always verified. They are always signed. They have a signature signed to them. So if you go through that document, then you realize that even from the presentations of the discussions that led to the approval of the Finance Bill 2026, most of those, I saw those facts there. Then I tried to analyze how some of the MPs were so misinformed about clauses that do not even exist in that particular document. So the first line of defense is to look at this particular organization. Does it have a website where you can verify the information. Did they upload a document relating to that information publicly? Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that very elaborate yet articulate presentation. You captured it rightly. And over to you, Titus. Maybe you can also tell us primary source of information yako huwa gani? Ama influencers, TikTok?
Tony, it depends with what kind of information you're looking for. But basically, it's a norm in almost averagely higher number of us Kenyans. Then the highest, where we get our information from is the mainstream media. That is always verified. However much, there's some other small media platforms that can also give a quality, verifiable information to us. But basically, we get our information from the mainstream media. And nowadays, because the watching television has really, the viewership has gone down. So nowadays we realize that most so for us, the young people, we get information from the social medias, but from verified handles of the mainstream media stations. Basically, that is it. Now, the challenge that we are facing as a nation is the interest behind the professional job that the media personnel or the journalists are doing. Now, because obviously the TV stations, the media stations, it is a business. And at the end of the day, someone is looking for profit. And so this is what is affecting this. There is the fact, and then there's the spirit of information. So the spirit of information is, to some extent, is pegged or is tagged to the business owners, maybe, to these media platforms. So that is what is affecting even the journalists themselves. But one thing I know is that as Kenyans, generally we are getting information from the mainstream media because we over-rely we rely that their sources are okay and they can never give us facts that are skewed or outliers in information.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Titus. Over to you, Ella. Maybe you can also tell us what you think about the primary source of information, and maybe on top of that, you can also tell us what comes to your mind when you think about responsible journalism.
So I'll be starting off on a very interesting note because 4 months ago I chose to do away with most of my social media apps. So I've been off Instagram, TikTok, X for quite a number of months. And my primary source of information has been very interesting.
Which one?
YouTube, of course. Influencers from the few videos we interact with, probably on WhatsApp. And something else that I think we probably end up undermining is our environment. People talk, people mention, people post, oh, umesikia finance bill, oh, kuna maandamano. The word of mouth, the Uber guy tells you what some CS did. And I think those have been my sources for the past couple of months. I feel it's sufficient. And also suiting my preference. What I think about media responsibility in Kenya, we are on a safe plane, I'd say that. Yet I'm starting to sense some sort of early smoke, especially in this season of political tension. I'm starting to feel as if there's a lot of polarized information out here. We are seeing commercialization of information, political interest being put ahead. But I think with the measures we're having, with the law, we're having bodies responsible. So far, so good. We are seeing people taking these cases to court where there's been noticed kuna kitu that's off. So far, media responsibility in Kenya is on a safer plane on my case opinion. Yes.
Yeah, we'll come back to you. Maybe you'll have to elaborate later on what you mean when you say commercialization of information, and also when you talk about reporting and maybe polarization. We love to know whether is this polarization by the government or which side exactly are we talking about in this case. But to you,
and why she threw away all his social media.
Yeah. So say huko IG, huko TikTok. Do you intend to come back after some time, ama ni permanent?
I like it so far. So far, I like it, and I'll have him talk first, then I'll answer it later.
Amani, maybe you can tell us, because you've been a very passionate member of Linda Mwananchi. You can tell us about propaganda, because have you come across some news, maybe other two mainstream media, ukaona kwamba wamereport and then later on you realize kwamba it was fake news, kitu kama hiyo. Have you ever experienced that maybe in your entire like period?
Yeah, sure. First of all, I'll start by telling you my main source of information. It is X.
Oh, that
Twitter.
is Twitter.
Twitter.
Wangapi wako
And
Twitter by the way?
you know,
Wangapi wako Twitter? Wanasemanga Twitter ni ya my intellectuals.
you know, if you want to find someone you can argue with, if you want to find someone that you can actually connect with him or her politically, first of all, you have to check if he or she has a Twitter account, X account. If he or she is not there, then it means you'll just be doing you're wasting your time arguing with him or her, because they don't understand anything. Because in Twitter, that's why you've just put it right that it's only for intellectuals. So when it comes matters politics, they are intellects. They argue intellectually.
Those who are on X.
Because when you go to Twitter, you'll find that there's something trending. So you'll want to see that why is this thing trending?
Yeah.
So you look into it in more details than those who are in Facebook. Okay, I'm also in Facebook because I'm also in Facebook. No, I'm also in Facebook because I'm trying to connect also with the people, marginalized people, because also people from Ushago are the one who wanapenda kukua kwa Facebook. Yeah. So you want to connect with them, go to Facebook. They don't know even Twitter. Not all of them know even. In fact, when you go and mention to them the word Twitter, what is that? They'll be shocked. Okay. They'll be mesmerized. And I think answering your question, Tony, about media, government fights, it has now escalated. And I always oppose the government. But here, I'll try to be neutral. What the government wants, it is actually the media to regulate some sensitive information to the public. Their media can be used as a political violence tool. At the same time, it can be used as a peace-building tool. Now, it depends on how it frames some of the headlines. They say a media personality framing the headline, it is more important than the headline itself. You see, the way you frame that headline, it will determine whether to fuel tension or to build peace amongst the supporters of the headlines. There are different supporters. So I'll just see, Ruto is a thief. Then I'll come, I'm a supporter of William Ruto. I'll come and it will actually escalate my anger. Yeah? So media, I think they also have to regulate on how they are putting some headlines. The way they're framing, and that's why you saw the standard nation. There was actually some deviation between the government and the Standard Nation media, because on how they are actually framing the headlines. They say, the lying president. See.
Okay. I want to leave it there because whatever you are mentioning, you've already jumped the gun. There are things you want to discuss subsequently, but thank you for highlighting that because it speaks critically and speaks directly to media accountability. But over to you, Ina, maybe you can tell us, do you believe that the Kenyan media today is fair in terms of their coverage? You look at, for example, the manner in which they bring us news, how they report nowadays. So if it's a project, for example, do you feel that they give us both sides? They give us like the successes and also the failures? Most of the times they lean to one side.
Okay, thank you, Tony. I'll start with my primary source of information.
Which is?
Mostly I watch the television with my dad, mostly in the evening. With my dad, mostly in the evening.
That is news.
Yeah, I watch the news. I also rely on my phone, the social media platforms. Yeah. Okay, back to your question. Lately, I don't think the media houses have been fair. They have their own political interest, and they already have taken sides. So you find like, for example, when they are talking about the government, they'll focus more on the failures than the success. Yeah, even during interviews, when they call, for example, a CS, you already see like they have their own opinion and they want you agree with them. So they're not really fair nowadays.
So where does that leave you as a Gen Z in the country? You kama hiyo ndio kitu inafanyika in the newsrooms, like how do you then verify how do you ensure then that you are not like influenced by this one-sided coverage? Do you like double check ama sasa unafanyanga aje?
Yeah, you should fact check. Some of these media houses, I think they're in business. So plus they want, most people nowadays, they're in, let me say, one term. So they want to say what people want to hear. So you should fact check so that you can't be misinformed.
Thank you so much. Ambrose, maybe start by telling us the primary source of information and also tell us whether you still trust the Kenyan media today.
Thank you so much. My primary source of information today, unless somebody gives me a call. On a serious note, because
bro,
like when something happens, then you give me a call. Then after that I will go now to the secondary source of information. Now, or try to check on it, because finding somewhere to trust today is not easy unless you, just as my brother did say, unless you verify them in the website of such kind of organization. And then your question was
whether the media is free or is fair today. And whether you still trust the Kenyan media.
Okay, the Kenyan media, whether trusted or not, there are media sources that you will have to trust.
You have like examples?
And there are some that you can really not trust. You see, a media station like KBC. Is it KBC or KCB?
KBC, bro.
KBC, yeah, KCB is a bank. You see, that one is a government-owned media. And just like in a home setup, if you are the head of the family, there are many things happen within the family, right? There's some information that you will not disclose at all. To maybe even to your wife or even to the siblings. there are some you can disclose to the wife, right? But you fail to disclose them to the children, all right? And there are some information you will just have to stay with them just to yourself. Why? Because
you need a wife first before you can hold information.
Okay, because I also come from a family setup.
Okay.
Yeah, because sometimes my dad will withhold some information until later. That's when he decided to disclose them. When now the situation are calm and no harm can arise within the family. Okay. So that is the kind of what you see. That is now like the media now to the country. And then also there are some. So that's why I can go with the KBC. I always sometimes watch the KBC, and the reason being my dad like watching KBC so much. It is only us when we go home we always want to watch Citizen, but my dad, it is fully on KBC because of the kind of information that the KBC always share. Like he always trust the KBC rather than any other source of information. Okay. Yeah.
Ambrose, still on you, maybe you can tell us what comes to your mind when you talk about media accountability.
What comes into my mind in terms of media accountability, you see, when we talk of accountability, before holding the media houses accountable, the media houses themselves need to hold themselves accountable to the kinds of information they share across. But you realize that most of these media houses, first of all, they don't even hold themselves accountable to this information. They even jump some of the stages of relaying the information to the public, because sometimes these guys will share information that when finally verified later, you realize that the information was false. But then there are always some fact checking within the media stations. Then you now start wondering, was this information really fact checked? Okay, so even themselves, they fail to hold themselves accountable. So at the end of the day, even the public now, if now the public push them to the world in terms for accountability, then they shy away or they turn arrogance. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambrose, for that. Finally, to you, Daisy, perhaps you can also tell us your experience with the Kenyan media, your primary source of information. Now, utuambie pia we kama una believe whether the Kenyan media today has been fair and also accountable in terms of what they report.
Okay, thank you so much, Tony. I think much has been said.
True.
Yeah, but I think I'll start with my primary source of information. It's a bit weird. I trust Chrome so much.
Chrome?
Yes.
What? Chrome is a search engine.
Yeah, I trust it more than
so
any
you go
other.
and search.
Yes. Anything, because the other time a friend was telling me that there is a maandamano in the Nairobi CBD. Then I was doubting, but I went to Chrome and asked Chrome, is there maandamano in the Nairobi CBD? Then Chrome was like, no, there is no, it is so peaceful. Then I proceeded to Nairobi CBD and there was no maandamano. So I've been trusting Chrome for the longest time of my life.
But are you on these other social media platforms, PMA, like you're there but for other purposes?
I also took a break.
Oh, you deleted them?
No, they are just there, but I logged out. Yeah, they are dormant. Yeah, but then again, I have one rule that I don't rely on. Being that I love Chrome, I don't rely on it that much because it is advisable to be seeking from different credible informations. Yeah, so
when you're buying a phone, you check whether it has Chrome first.
Exactly. I check whether it has Chrome first.
So on whether you believe whether the Kenyan media is free and fair, hiyo hujasema.
Oh, yeah, I have to comment about it. I think I'm sorry to say this, but they should go back and read about their responsibility.
That is to the media.
To the media, okay? Because as much as I'm concerned, I know media houses are responsible for, demanding transparency. And everything is always about politicians nowadays. I attended a certain meeting and they were asked about the Kenya they want, and they were talking about politicians should do this and that, yeah. And I told them that it begins with you being the person that you expect the other person to be. Yeah. So I don't really think they have been fair enough, because as much as we rely on them as our source of information, we should not be receiving inappropriate news.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Daisy, and a round of applause for ourselves, because I see that there's understanding in regards to what we want to talk about today. And before I even cross over to the panel, I just wanted to say that there was a time I also watched on news where it was reported that an MCA from, I think, Wajir had been abducted. Mpaka ikasemekana after a while, after investigations, sijui amepatikana, and then the eyes were not there, amekufa, nini. And then later on, the MCA resurfaced, unaona? And then the media went on to report the story as if nothing had happened. Like there were two different stories, but it was the same MCA who had been reported to be missing na amepatikana. When he was asked whether his disappearance had anything to do with the government, akasema no. Unaona? Saa hizo, Kenyans tunajua tu emotions, ndio? Wewe ukisikia saa hizi abductions imefanyika, what do you do? Si Ruto must go. Yeah. Si hiyo ndio kinafanyikanga. So ushasema Ruto must go, and then you find out kumbe the guy was not abducted. So in that case, who do we blame? Me. Anybody? And Ama, what do you expect the media to do in such a scenario?
Yes, let me answer you. But before I answer you, I will start by, first of all, trying to understand what responsible journalism is. Because to my understanding, responsible journalism, it is the ethical practice of gathering, verifying, and disseminating information to the public. Wow. Remember, gathering, verifying and disseminating information to the public.
Perfect. 6 o'clock, yeah.
Remember, I'm very intentional with my choice of words in the sense that the verification part is, first of all, you need to gather information because you can't verify what you haven't gathered. Now, the verification part means that there is a data management system within the journalism career or profession that ensures that truth and facts are the only elements that have been extracted from that information. Meaning that for us to ensure that that truth and facts is the only thing that is being aired from that information, we should trace back on who is doing this kind of verification and what is the profession that is enhancing the development of truth and facts from this information. In the sense that that is why we have institutions that teach journalism. So that is taking me back to the fundamentals. What are the code and conducts and ethics that guides the professionalism career? Remember, we can't jump into laws when the fundamentals are already distorted, all rotten. Because right now, if I air an unverified information that leads to defamation or anything of that sort, what will I do? What is your remedy? Is to go and seek law or the legal framework to protect you, right? But remember, the fundamental is the key. It is the point at which this entire career is being anchored on. So what does that mean? That even before we talk about misinformation in the first place, we need to understand the root cause of this particular problem. Who are we raising as journalists? Because journalists are people like me and you. We can't go and get robots to do journalism career for us.
That is true.
So it means that it is an information that probably also we have human error, ideally. So we need to ensure that our structures from the academic system is strengthened to raise individuals that are of value, that bring value to the profession's career.
Thank you so much. That was very articulate. Tunampigie makofi jamani. Yeah. One final remark before I come to them. You had something.
Yes. What I wanted to say is that he has just said about verification. You know, these journalists or these media reports should be verified before they are published. I'm shocked to find that even the media personalities, the media officers, the ones who the anchors and the reporters, have now turned to be activists nowadays. Instead of focusing on their own work, we've not welcomed them to come and join us in actually criticizing the government. Let them do their own work. So you find by the time they are actually giving out reports, they're actually sending some words, because some of them are actually incoming politicians. So they are trying to get that what we call public attention. So that when they go to ground, they think that ground is social media, that they will be received well, that because they are acting as activists, well, they should be doing their own works in the media. And that's why I've told you I'll try to be neutral. And also the government itself also should also leave the media also because the media has got freedom to actually send to the public the information. They should not also capture the media. You know, the government thinks that the way it has captured some of the things, it thinks that also it can also come and capture the media. While the media is also doing its own work. So for me.
So you are saying the government must stop trying to capture the media?
It is trying to capture the media. He wants to defend the government here.
Okay. Wait. Just calm down.
You see, he's not even patient.
He wants to defend
He's trying to defend the government here just because I've just mentioned the government. The government should stop. He wants to control everything, including the media.
How do you know?
The media is not the government. How do I know? Let me answer you, Tony. You see, Tony, a fight between the government and the media comes as a result of information. The information that the media is actually taking to the public. That is the point we should start. That is where we should start. Look where the problems is, where the problem got us from. This information, you see, like for example, the role media, they are coming telling the president, they're trying to remind him, oh, you said this, but this one has not been delivered. So you see that the government is coming, they're trying to tell, oh, media, you should focus on your own work, don't come to politics.
Just calm down. I'll give you time.
Patience will kill you, my brother.
Let's
it's
calm
only
down.
that I'm trying to today I've told you that I'll be very neutral.
Okay.
I'll not criticize the government. Yes.
What we do, in all fairness, allow me now to bring in my panelists, and then we'll come now for the second round. So if you have any questions as regards whatever
No,
they say,
just give him a right of
okay, you want to respond to
Take.
Okay.
You know, one problem with the Linda Mwananchi guys that they are very myopic, and they think that all the press and all the journalists and all the media, mainstream media stations should be supporting them when they, in relevance, they have no agenda to tell Kenyans. You know, that is a problem. Let me tell you, no one, both the government and the opposition, expect the media to support them. The media, the main role of the media is one, to inform, to educate, amongst many other things. So even me, as good supporter of the government, I do not expect any media station to support our agenda, ideally. But the most important thing is that we see the journalists and the media stations as referees to inform us of what really happens within our nation, within the borders of Kenya. Because you cannot tell me that every time the media is asking the government what they've done, and then the media is not asking the opposition what they intend to do. Because for a very good example, my brother here is from Linda Mwananchi. He has not told us what they promised yesterday in Kisii. They have no agenda. So when the problem is we have politicized our media to the extent that when I see a media house and whatever headline they write or whatever story they run on their in their news, we now see it as this is ours, this is not ours. That is a problem we are in. But as a journalist, and I want to borrow from my brother on my right, journalists are trained to be very neutral. They are trained, well trained. Journalists are not supposed to lean on whichever side. So when you hear someone claiming that the media stations want to be captured by the state, my friend, the state already has KBC, and the KBC is not even supposed to report positively on the government alone. KBC, their main role is to regulate or to give a standard of journalism to everyone else who is in that business. So what we should be looking at is not being responsive or not responsive, being pro-government or pro-opposition. What we should be discussing about the media and the news that we're getting in Kenya is, the responsiveness of journalists and the media to Kenyans. Because as a journalist, there is an unwritten rule. I beg to be quoted on saying that. There is an unwritten rule that they're supposed to be neutral. It is not written anywhere, but it is a responsibility that they acquire once they've graduated from school, that they're supposed to be very neutral and give information. And then when, like he's saying, that's what I'm saying, how to Linda Mwananchi, they have no agenda, because he's saying that, some media personnel, they want to go and run for political offices, and now they must egemea pandei. That is just, picking things here and putting them around, with aim that they would make sense. But in reality, when a journalist wants to run for political office, immediately they resign from their respective media houses and now begin their actual campaigns, then they will be partial. But as long as they are still within the parameters of journalism, they must always be impartial.
Thank you so much, Titus. And as we normally say here, we come to unlearn, we learn, and then we relearn. Yes. So I'll give you the opportunity, Joshua, to respond at a later time after I found out the meaning of myopic. But at this moment, I want to bring in the panelists to also give us a context as to where we are as a country today in regards to the topic of discussion, responsible journalism, and also media accountability. Where are we today? Do we have instances where we have seen a bit of biases in terms of reporting and stuff? So where are we? And we'll start with you, Mheshimiwa, for maybe you can give us that context, and then also, are we seeing events that maybe are evidence that our media to some extent are not fair?
Thank you, Tony, and thank you, Gen Zs, for those insightful presentations. Tony, when I was growing up, media had its traditional roles. And the traditional role of the media was to inform, educate, and entertain. And I venture to know the difference between informing and educating. And informing just means sharing occurrences, what has happened. And educating would mean undertaking a research just to bring out something new that enriches the knowledge of the audience. And then entertainment would be a segment that all work without play make Jack a dull boy. So we would be treated to some dance here and some art there, that, and then the media would be complete. But that was then. Today, what I see of the media is media has become a tool. And today, media does very little of information. Media, apart from reporting, there's no education that's going on today. And because media has a new purpose, which is shaping opinion. So you will see media houses trying to sway the public this way or that way, and hence the propaganda that is inherent in their reporting. And the second thing is that media has now become a weapon of terrorism. They are even terrorizing their audience, because you will find no media house goes without telling you a war there, a war here, or an accident there, a grisly accident. Of course, that is information. But when your screen is full of blood, then that is terrorism. And I think media house need to know better. And again, the level of journalism I see today, I think has really fallen below expectation. I don't know whether today we have allowed the reporters to graduate into journalism. Because like one young man mentioned, that journalism should be responsible and should have its core values, journalistic values, that make you stand out. I remember when we were growing up, we had very strong journalists that are of reputation and legends to date. We had the Ngwenos of this world, Hilary Ngweno. We had the Philip Ochieng, and we had
Kwendo Opanga.
I mean, people who were very solid, very grounded. When they brought out an opinion, you would go to buy your Sunday Nation just to read a columnist, because you know you would get information. But today, media houses have been commercialized. And I know that is where the biggest problem is coming in, because media houses today are claiming that they advertised for government and government has not paid them, and now they are paying back in kind by bastardizing government, which amounts to vendetta journalism. And I think when it comes to media accountability, I want to call upon the Media Council of Kenya to rein in on irresponsible and weaponization of media houses. Because there are many people who are relying on mainstream media. And when they are treated to wrong information, if not propaganda, then you mislead a whole nation. And a regulatory body like Media Council of Kenya must not allow media houses to mislead Kenyans. And we need to call the Media Council out to rein on the media houses. So in terms of media accountability, I lay that squarely at the door of Media Council of Kenya. But media should be evolving enough, because I think they're feeling the heat of lack of revenue because the social media has taken over. the space. So they are clinging on government, which is not giving them business, and the government has no reason to give them business because the websites are there for adverts. So
Yeah, true.
Adama, nimekuja sana.
Uko tu sawa.
Niwachie hapo. Sorry.
Thank you so much, Mheshimiwa. But still on you, maybe you could tell us what then is the danger of these media houses being owned by these individuals? Do we then have the case of conflict of interest? Because I understand you've been a politician. I know you were a member of parliament. Some of the media houses are owned by politicians or individuals who are very powerful. So at what point do they throw the line? Do they draw the line between conducting business and reporting accurately?
Let me say this. Media houses are owned by business persons because they come out as business ventures. And once you are a business person, you get money and you can easily venture into politics. But even from the perspective of a businessman who has a media house, there is bound to be conflict of interest. And the conflict of interest here comes in two ways. Number one, a media house owner wants to sway opinion in a given direction. And if the opinion is not going his direction, he will use every means possible to sway that means. And that means he will now avoid being factual and become a propagandist because propaganda sells better. And, but now when you are a businessman and you have become a politician, the conflict of interest become even more because media house is used to reach the voter. And people want to either what is it called? To poison the voter's mind against the government or to sway the voter's mind to their favor. So that's where the conflict of interest comes in. And it takes a very discerning audience to see the partisanship. What is it called? How partisan the media is.
Okay.
And again, I'm glad that today the mainstream media is losing viewership. People are using more independent, verifiable sources of information. And like me, I use more of YouTube because I get a lot of documentaries there that will give me the depth of an issue that I want to know about.
Okay. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. A round of applause for the first panelist for that. And now finally to you, Mwalimu, you can tell us there's that little comrade there, Gen Z Mali, who is watching. Najui, she or he doesn't know these things you're talking about. What Mheshimiwa alludes to discerning that kind of conflict of interest. She has also alluded to what we call propaganda. I know there's misinformation, there's disinformation, but there's one which you normally forget, which is malinformation. Nani ajua malinformation? Tumefanya hiyo kitu, but Mwalimu, maybe you can also speak to that so that we know. Sindio?
You know, hawa ni werevu. When you go to university, you normally given the opportunity to find out by yourself. That is the best form of learning. So sometimes these days when there's AI, there's Google, and there is ile yako ilikuwa Chrome. And you know what happens? All these AIs and all those search engines, where do they search? The same place, online. And that is why sometimes when you think you are running away from liars, then you go and ask AI. AI will go and get information from those liars and give you. I have myself asked AI who I am, and the things I was told I was, I almost fainted. Because this very media we have here today controls the international community because they are so far away. So they monitor the local media to give you information, to judge the country. For example, Mheshimiwa talked about the Wajir MCA. Because the media had announced that he was abducted, then after a few days, I think a week or two, they announced that he was found with his eyes gouged out. Then the ambassadors, European, not African, called a press conference to demand for accountability from the government, to demand that the government rein in abductions, and to demand that the government informs the country of what has happened. The media misled even in the international community, even the ambassadors. 5 months later, Yusuf Hussein reappeared and told the world that he was not abducted. He was running away from his governor who had become his enemy. The media did not have the courtesy to go back and inform the international community that they lied about the guy's abduction, nor inform Kenya, nor apologize to the government that they lied, abducted. And one media house, The Citizen, told us that the guy was arrested, was abducted because he had an issue with the government. And when they talk about the government as having abducted somebody, they don't give a doubt that it is possible that it could not be the government. They report it as if they are certain it is the government which has done it. Yet they have no idea. So, politicians need very many powerful tools to use, to compete, and to fight their political wars. One of them is to capture the media. The other one is to capture the security agencies. The other one is to capture the judiciary, the church, the civil society groups, and trade unions. Once they have been captured by politicians, they can now use it. They will commit something, the church members will come, call a press conference and say, we want the government to release Kianyagia. The judiciary will also go and say, we are giving the police chief 10 days to find Kianyagia and bring it before this court. They will go and say, we want the government to tell us where Raphael Tuju is. Then, when the media is called by the opposition, they go running. When the government calls them, they don't go. That is what we have in Kenya today. So those things that I say politicians want to capture, to have leverage over their opponents, number one on top of the list is the media. Because even if you capture security agency and the media doesn't report anything about that, the people don't get to know. But what our politicians want most is the people. So let's see this. What does the media do? The most important is setting the agenda. The media decides that we want to now promote something called abductions. So anybody arrested by the police will be called abducted. Anybody who is missing, we will say abducted. Until every fool, including one who didn't go to standard 2, knows abduction, what it is. That is how the media can set agenda, promote a narrative, and make somebody so good look so bad. Let me give you a very interesting example. 3 days ago, there was a headline in which at the center was the Interior PS, Dr. Raymond Omolo. Around him were people who had been claimed to have been abducted. I'm sure all of you saw that.
Yeah, that's right.
Did you know that on those lists, Tojo was missing, Kianyagia was missing, Koimburi was missing, MCA Yusuf Hassan was missing? Why? Because somebody with a clear eye will say, but this one wasn't abducted. And then they didn't write anything. They just say, the judgment is yours. That media, that was supposed to tell you two things. The very many people who are supposedly having been abducted, and probably the person they call the chief abductor put to the end and without writing anything. But if you again read the story, you find there was no good reason why those photos and that man should have been there. Media being very irresponsible, being very biased, and being very unaccountable. How does that happen? In 1949, a man called Albert Einstein warned the world that soon it will come a time that the ordinary folk will be unable to make informed decisions because media will only be controlled by the rich who will decide what they want you to consume. How do they? They do not control it by owning it. They can also buy it. I've heard people talking about, media is business. They want to make money, so they put those headlines to make money. You are slightly wrong. They have been auctioned. They have been purchased also. Once upon a time, I used to run a guest house. That guest house had 16 rooms. So an American agency came and asked me, how much do you collect here per month when this place is full? So I told them, they told me, we will be paying you that every month without any expenses. We'll be paying electricity ourselves. We'll be paying your staff, but you give us the place. So anything I'm doing for them is not for them to give me money because they have already taken it wholesale. There is somebody in the country today who has taken the media wholesale, who has compromised the judiciary, who has compromised these many other agencies I had counted earlier. Now he uses as a leverage over his very political opponent. That explains why when Rex Masai died in the streets, on the same street where Uganda House, a 10-plus-story building, was set on fire, when Parliament was breached by force, the media has made his death more painful than the death of Baby Pendo, who died on the chest of the mother in their own house. Baby Pendo did not come to the streets to commit any crime. The media has made Rex Masai's death more painful than Rachel Wandeto, one who was set on fire by first pouring fuel on him, petrol, and setting on fire alive. Have you imagined that? Can that death not be more painful than Rex Masai? Is the media even talking about it today? Was it not also political? So the media has this idea of setting the agenda for you. And because what they are saying looks true, you are not looking at what have they missed out that make this more painful. They have not lied that Rex Masai died in the streets. They have not lied that he died during a protest. They have not lied that he was shot. All those are true. But what about other truths which could be worse? What about part of the truth that they left out? One time there was a guy who was shot in the streets point blank when we were all watching, isn't it? But the media did not show us where the altercation began. They showed us where the guy was shot. They did not also tell us what argument they had briefly there before the shooting. Because it will make you think differently about the scenario. There's something the media likes using very much. When we say your goons belongs to the police, then when you challenge them, they tell you, but we saw police walking side by side with goons. Do you remember that? If the police is called to your house, that your house is being broken into, and on the way to your house, they see some other people who going somewhere, they will not stop to ask them, who are you? They want to get to your house to rescue you. On that day, the business owners in the city had hired people carrying those rungus to protect their businesses. And they had agreed that you hire two, I hire two. When I have a problem, they all go there. So when crisis was the other end of the street, these people who hired started walking there. Police also were called, were moving there. When the police got side by side with these goons, videos were picking them for about 5 seconds. That is what is being replayed to us on a daily basis. We saw the police walking side by side with goons.
Escorting them.
Escorting them. They say escorting them. Escorting them, and the police were in the vehicles. And these people were walking. Let me tell you, the media can confuse you. That is why many times I like what is called comparison. I say, this thing you are saying the president has done. How come when Uhuru did it, the media was quiet? How come when Kibaki did it, the media was quiet? And we're being told that we can't do Rironi Mau Summit Road a PPP, public-private partnership, isn't it? But we did expressway that route. We did SGR that route, and we were all quiet. We are paying for expressway, but when we say we want to pay for Rironi Mau Summit Road, they are complaining. Why? So be careful about the media. It doesn't matter what political formation you support. There was a time the Nation newspaper had a headline, I think it was 2024, that a criminal had gone with President William Ruto to Germany. The photo of the president and the photo of the criminal. But when you start to read the story, that very media house is telling you that actually the guy was in Germany at the time President William Ruto was there. They didn't go together. The media can misinform you. If the media today writes something sensational about you and demand an apology, that apology will not be the headline now. It will be on page 16 on the 5th column. Isn't that not true? Because they just want to beat the matter of the law, that the law said you can apologize. And that will be seen by 20,000 people. The headline was seen by 2 million people. Have they done for you any justice? No. So be careful, very careful about them. There are many, many examples. And look at these people who are abducted. Their story and the day they are found that they have not been abducted, they don't follow up. Tomorrow, if somebody is missing, the media reports it like they have never had a case where they misreported an abduction. Like this guy, Lichuma. Was it called Lichuma?
Lichuma, yeah.
Lichuma, there's no evidence on him of any torture, of any abduction. Even him, he has not told us, I was abducted, taken to committee. From committee, I was tortured and brought to the hospital. And he's a good actor. Because he can wear the face. The face of somebody who has been tortured for 6 years. And pretend. And you know, when people tell you what you want to hear, you believe it without fact checking. There was a time here, I'm sorry to say this. Raila Odinga was reading his speech, countdown to the 2022 speech. And he said he was carrying the scars of his torture with pride. And one of the scars was the handkerchief he carries to do his case. That thing, if he was tortured in 1982 and up to 92, he has not been having that until he was now an old man. And many old men have that. Can nothing be attributed? But because people wanted to hear something, they just believed him. That, oh, he was tortured until now, he keeps on. Even me, I've reached the age where I do that. And it will increase. But and I was not tortured. I have never been tortured. So when you are being told what you want, you see, like today, if you tell him that somebody called Sifuna was offended in Kisii, and he will believe you every detail. When you are a parent and you are called to a school and you are told in the school your child fought the other child, you will believe the story your child told you at home, not what you're being told in school. Natural. That is how things work here. That is why when Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta were campaigning against each other, 98% of the Kikuyu supported Uhuru, 98% of the Luo supported Raila. Who was right in these two? They were influenced by inbuilt biases and prejudices based on the community they come from. Can you see the bitterness online of the Kikuyu against Ruto now? The bitterness is on another level. In fact, when they speak, they froth in the mouth. Recently, President William Ruto launched the bridge in Dagoretti Corner around the junction. There is a political commentator
say near Raila Amolo Odinga Stadium.
Absolutely. Nyinyi watu wa Raila, nyinyi pia hapo. So, there's a man called, a political commentator called Fanyamambo Kinuthia. He said, Ruto said that bridge was 850 meters. So he's going to use his speedometer to measure if Ruto really said the truth. So when he measured, he said it was 650. If I ask you to build a bridge from here to there, you must also build the road from the bridge to a few meters ahead and also a few meters before, so that the bridge can have a seamless connection with the old road. Right? But for contractual purposes, There's also a road below the bridge that was also built. But in his inbuilt bias and prejudice, he goes, measures the bridge and say, Ruto was lying. And people believe, because people want to believe everything that sounds logical, even if it is not properly reasoned or opinionated. They just want to believe. So that is why the media today is very disappointing. There was a man called Linus Kaikai of Citizen TV. When a company called Adani was brought to do a public-private partnership construction of the airport, he led a team of people on his TV station called the News Gang. And they read the Riot Act for the president, how that such a project cannot be done that way, how Adani is a thief, all those things. But because the international community monitors the local media, they thought, so America became ears up. They even looked if this guy is truly that they arrested him. They later found he's innocent, that they have now promised to give him more business. Mm-hmm. Linus Kaikai, talking to us recently, is telling us how the improvement of the airport is long overdue. He's the one who shot it down using his media house. Today he's telling us how it is long overdue. That is how the media deals with you. Because they know what they did to you those days, say 2024, has already formed an opinion in you. You are already mad. You already thought the government is very bad. A single statement written at a corner of a newspaper will not change that. Today, Martha Karua goes to Uganda. She's arrested there. She comes back. She cannot dare even have a press conference. She comes back to hold a press conference here. And you know what she's telling us? That Ruto has ganged up with the president of Uganda and Suluhu to dictate, to muzzle the media. He finds the Kenyan media free enough to come and hold a press conference, but he still wants to put Ruto in. I thought with that he would learn where is freedom and where is dictatorship. She went to Uganda, found serious dictatorship where media houses can be shut down on one statement. And that simply cannot happen in Kenya. So we must have now a responsible media in Kenya, though fortunately, for something very good, the social media is coming to give them a check, to be a checkmate. Because like now, personally, I'm sitting here as a person blacklisted by the Kenyan media. And the Kenyan media is very feared by Kenyan politicians because they can bring you down. Kenyans, we are largely criminals. And we are largely very corrupt. So politicians don't want to. Don't you see even the panel here is very big? Because I told them we are going to discuss media bias. So media bias. I think I will come, but I will be late. I think that is what happens. Nobody wants to touch the media because they fear. I don't care about them. We must tell them the truth. That is when we are saving Kenya for our future. Otherwise, I am telling you today, these things that we talk about every day, media bias, Gen Z protests, all this will end the day elections will end in 2027. Because this platform is provided by political protagonists. This thing that you hear, Sifuna is in Kisii, in Bungoma, in Migori. Sifuna cannot afford to organize one political rally, one. How does 500,000 organize a political rally? He cannot. That money, and the day elections will be over, that money will be withdrawn. The agenda that has been set that we discuss every day, that agenda will stop being discussed because the media will stop being paid. A media house like Standard would have died long time ago. Well, the other time I went there, it was a ghost town. But somebody is financing them because the headlines they tell us. I want somebody to go check 10 headlines of the Standard newspaper in a row and see if that is responsible journalism. Thank you.
Thank you so much. A round of applause for our panelists. Thank you so much, Mwalimu, for that. And for me, what really stood out is what we call the danger of a single story. Like you are just given one side, or sometimes it is even manipulated in total, Cindy. And we've seen several instances. So, but we have equally been accused of being a very corrupt, very corrupt people. So maybe you could give us responses as to what you people think. I know you are the consumers of information, just like the president. Some of you consume raw intelligence, ndio. So mnaweza tuambia, starting with you, Ella, what do you make of the remarks of our panelists, and do you also agree that at some point you might have consumed information that might have been manipulated, or maybe one side of a story? And one particular case in point is the issue of police brutality. A couple of times you're normally told somebody has been shot or something has happened, the police are using excessive force, but we're never told what normally transpires before that. So maybe you could tell us your experience.
Okay, just as I had begun saying, one of the reasons why I spaced from media was because I felt it was extreme and polarized. And something I normally go by is mti mkunje ngali mdogo. And one thing that I know is even media wacha nitumie hiyo basi. Samaki mkunje angali mbichi, right? And media understands we are young, we are energetic, neuroplasticity is happening, we are growing, and we are in a path where we are making decisions for ourselves. So it's taking advantage of this very profitable, or how do I put it best? It's like a gold mine, it's like a gold rush for us young people. And being in a position where you're able to form how we think and view the world, that's power by itself.
True.
And true, multiple times, on a general note, I'd say what our political opinions for us Gen Zs are formed by what we watch on news.
True.
What is Citizen TV having as their headlines? About Ruto, about the opposition, about some CS, about what is happening in this county. And I think it's high time that we relate. Okay, let me elaborate this to make it more clear. I'm into sociology. Sociology. And something that I have been trying to understand is, how do we think as we Gen Zs? Because different generations have different ways of operation. How he thinks is not how I think, is not how the generation before him thinks, is not how alphas think. If alphas were here, it would be very different.
Alphas never buy.
Exactly. And one thing
Alpha never.
And something that I've observed is this: we have a way of avoiding intensity. If we are at a crossroad, we'd rather stand, calmly observe, and make a decision. And let me illustrate this. You remember in 2024, when people of the older generation walikuwa nashangaa, okay, Gen Zs kumbe mnapenda politics, because it shifted the narrative of sisi ni wakukaa tu nyumbani na kukula malia wazazi. Two, okay, we are here using our Instagrams and our TikToks to explain this finance bill 2024, to elaborate, to bring numbers, to come peacefully demonstrate, this is what we will do, we will use this avenue, right? We will go by this time, we'll go back by this time, don't go alone. And we were very organized. And that came about from, okay, we've grown up watching the political state of our nation.
Yeah.
We've been taught in school our history, our social studies. We have seen our parents form opinions. And that has been passed down onto us. And while we were at that point where, okay, we are growing up, I have the ability now, or rather the space, to make my own opinions. What do I do? And I feel like that's where media is coming in at this crossroad. And it's very tricky, and we need to be very careful.
Okay.
Even we ourselves, we need to take the responsibility to diversify our source of information. That's we more or less know where most of Gen Zs lie politically. So we might congratulate Standard for having certain headlines. You know, because they are giving what we want to hear. They are soothing our emotions, yes. But I think it's high time we also need to sit down. Okay, we get it from news, we get it from certain YouTubers and TikTokers who are very loud and charismatic, and we like that. But diversifying our sources of information is what I think will save us.
Okay. Were you on the streets in 2024?
Sadly, no.
Sadly.
Sadly, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a question I wanted to ask you. I don't know whether to proceed, but so let me go to Amani and then I'll come back.
Okay.
What I wanted to ask you, before you go to Amani, what I wanted to ask you, like, what are some of the lessons the young people can pick from the presentation we've had from our two panelists that we see that there's a lot of power in media, and most of the times we are seeing that power is being used to push certain narratives. What has also come out clearly is that we can actually have propaganda against government.
Yeah.
So whereas you might, as you put it, that some of the headlines are very good to hear, they may not necessarily be the accurate position. So what lessons are we drawing from that presentation?
So the lessons I've drawn is that, just as I've said, we need to therefore diversify our sources of information. That it's not just enough to hear a headline or your favorite streamer say this or this or that. Sometimes go ahead, watch a documentary, as Meshimi was saying. You need to look for more elaborate sources, because at the end of the day, you're the one that is going to determine things in the long run. And knowing that these media sources understand the power of being the ones who give us information, we also need to take account that this is what I want to feed at the end of the day. This is what I don't want to feed at the end of the day. And lastly, that is why I think we're also seeing a group, just as she had also mentioned, where we feel like we want to take a break because, it's too much. You're telling me to go, I'm in a wave of so many, I'm in an ocean of so many opinions, so many propaganda. You want me to think this way. I need a breather.
True.
That's exactly where we are.
Very well, fair enough. See, tuna clock jamani, mmesahau. Mi sijui kufanya hiyo kitu lakini sawa. Amari, to you, maybe you can tell us, I think you wanted to respond before I cut you short the other time, so unaweza respond kwanza, alafu pia utuambie, because it is true, hata wewe you had alluded to that fact, kumbe kuna propaganda in the manner in which reporting inafanya. So maybe unaweza tuambia pia wewe kama ni kitu umeona, you said wewe kazi yako ni kuoppose.
Thank you so much. You know, I was to come to this guy, but due to the fact that I've also had Mheshimiwa.
Oh, you have changed your mind.
No, I will now combine my so that I ask my question, so that I shoot my question.
Oh, yeah.
Both of them are the target now. So you see, I told you that I'll try to be very neutral, because I've seen the problem with the media. Sometimes mine is just the way they are framing things. They come and frame some of the things that may fuel violence and tension, may actually escalate violence. So, Mheshimiwa, before I come back to Mr. Chairman Kanu, you've said that you've actually come and maybe you went extra to a point that unaingilia Linda Mwananchi, saying Sifuna ye.
I just used him as an example.
Okay, as an example. Thank you. Mheshimiwa, we've been seeing scenarios whereby the media also have been having issues with the government, probably because of how they are sending their information to the public. So recently, I actually saw a very good example is the Royal Media Services through Citizen TV. Actually, they were trying to ask the president the things that the president was actually saying before and after he actually took the office and the power. So how can you put it, Mheshimiwa? Because you are saying that this what Linus Kaikai was saying, this one and Adani, and we actually came to see it. He was actually trying to shed some lights where there was darkness. How can you, Mheshimiwa, how can you put it? Because it is a reality that President William Ruto, there are some of the things that the government president was actually saying before and after he took the power is actually different.
You have
maybe I can respond to that now to make it more interesting.
But it needs to give example.
Yeah, because I wanted him to give an example.
No, he has already told me that there's something the president promised during election
Yes.
and did not do them when he was elected.
Yes. For example, very good example, it is the 1 million jobs. 1 million jobs. Right now we are living in a state where Bwana, be patient, Bwana. Impatience will kill you.
Proceed.
Million jobs that President William Ruto actually he promised to the youths. I just want, even my friend here is jobless, yet he's supporting the government. I just want someone to come out and say that, oh, I'm a beneficiary of President William Ruto, this and this and this. What he promised, he has delivered.
Okay.
Before Tony, before it is answered, I just want him to tell us first, affordable housing have employed how many people? Does he have that data?
Thank you so much. Affordable housing has employed several people, as I know.
No, give us the number.
No, listen. No, listen. We are not here for the numbers, Bwana. Listen.
But you said 1 million. You said 1 million.
Listen,
It's a number.
Just calm down.
No, listen.
We are saying.
It's a number.
We are saying several.
Tony, you have to be part of this. Will I be subjected to this kind of heckling, or I be left to speak?
I will protect you.
Protect me. Thank you so
But
much.
the rules of the house remain the same.
Thank you so much.
That you must quantify at least.
Thank you so much. How do you expect someone like me from university? Someone like me from university, I've just learned skills from university. To go to Mjengo, kindly tell me.
Okay.
Because you're telling me that the president has come up with affordable housing, and this one has actually bring a job to the youths. So many youths are graduating, but do you want to tell me that these youths will actually leave the universities and go to the Mjengo? Yes, tell me.
Yes. Okay, you see, this kind of person, I don't know why you always bring him here, because who told you that somebody who was going to a university does not work in a construction site?
Or where does he want to go to?
Where do you want them to go? Where do you want a civil engineer to go and work? Where do you want an electrical engineer to go and work?
Why am I studying? Then why am I studying?
Let me allow in
why am I studying? Okay, so do you want me to specify that?
Amani.
Let's just make it very easy.
Yes.
Pole. Please.
We'll
give him the figures, but don't make it noisy.
Yes. Let's not make noise. But the truth is, even this building, you can't tell me that mtu wa Mjengo ndiye alijenga hii building. This building required a lot of engineers. Even setting up these lights here required an electrical engineer or lights engineer. Okay, so and there are people who went to university to build this house, to an extent of even PhD holders. So don't tell us university.
Thank you for specifying.
So let me finish. So if go and fact check the affordable housing itself in Kenya, leave alone other cadres of work or of jobs, just affordable housing only has employed how many people? Before you talk of 1 million jobs, okay? And tell us it is how many.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Tony.
Yes.
He has just specified. He has done very well to specify. He has told me engineers, those who have done masonry engineering, electrical engineering. So someone like me, I'm doing a community resource management course. Where will I fall into? Where will I fall into?
Please come again.
He has just specified. Okay.
I want to get.
Let me help this gentleman. It's going to be very quickly. Let me give you those figures. Affordable housing, as we sit here today, has employed 640,000 Kenyans. Police, Army, National Youth Service, Navy, and the rest, 150,000. Parastatals all put together, new recruitments, including the 100 as Kenya Ports Authority and Kenya Railways, Kenya Revenue Authority, it has exceeded 1 million. But let me tell you something you are talking about. You are graduate affordable housing. Did the president say they have 1 million for graduates? No. And let's go this way. When the president wanted to help Kenyans, he said he knows in Kenya, there are those who have reached university, there are those who have not reached but are employable, then there are those who can only do business. So what does he do? Those who can only do business, there was the Nyota. Those who cannot do business, did not reach university and all that. There are those plumbers that they can go to do the affordable housing, including what were Mikono who are not employable. They could do that. The university graduates, parastatals have taken in almost 400,000 Kenyans up to today. And that is not all. The graduates, there were those who studied education. We have employed 86,000 graduates since Ruto took power. Something that did not even get employed during Uhuru for the 10 years. So let us not go by what our political demigods are saying. If you call here today, somebody coming from a party called Safina, he will not leave this door without talking about some odious debt, we shouldn't pay, we can't pay, because they have no idea of their own. They want to promote their demigods, those leaders. Even when, have you ever had a country that has said we are not paying our international debt obligations because they were taken illegally? Today, if Kenya takes debt illegally, it is you Kenyans who should have internal controls so that your president does not take debt illegally. You are the one who's supposed to punish. But as Kenyans, you must pay money that came from outside and was used in here. So that is what is happening. But let us look at figures, facts, and logic.
Okay, so
thank you so much for.
Where will I fall? Because I'm actually pursuing a community resource management course. Okay, and we actually have an issue of high rate of unemployment right now. You graduate, there is no job.
Let me
How can you answer that?
Another way, jobs are created for people like you. We must have a country where everybody is free to invest, to start an NGO, maybe that is where you can work. Or infrastructure is built so somebody can start a business somewhere. The parastatals work so that the parasol can employ. It's not the government who must employ you. It's not direct.
You don't want an NGO. Thank you so much, Mwalimu, for that. I want to make a few responses from that side before I welcome Faith. Let us recognize Faith ametujoin hapo. We are having a conversation on the media. That is responsible journalism and media accountability. Na tuko na majenzis hapa. They have given us their insights na pia the panelists have been able to respond. So we are picking the second round, alafu takuja kwenu mujibu maswali zao. So thank you so much, brother, for that, by the way. Na tulisema hapa tunakuja ku-unlearn, learn and relearn, sindio? So don't take it personally. Pia don't be fast to respond, by the way. Sometimes synthesize what you're being told. I want to allow a few responses also to what he has said, because you can clearly see what the media is doing, sindio? What is happening is that akona information tofauti na yenye mwalimu akona, sindio? So interpretation yake pia ni tofauti na what is here, but that is why we are having this conversation, sindio? And let me come to you. Umengoja sana, sindio? You've been yearning to respond, especially to him. So kwako, alafu tuendelee hivyo.
No, we'll call you here to show the two of you, moderated by Jamal.
You know, Asante, you know, it is very sad that today we are here, we converged here to speak about the media and their professionalism. And then these friends of ours, being led here by my brother here, Amani, is now politicizing everything, including his, you know, he is showing us how short he is in memory to the fact that the government of the day is doing its job and its deliveries. Because we are supposed to crucify the government of the day based on its manifesto. We cannot crucify the government of the day based on the lenses of the opposition. You know, because today, tomorrow, the opposition shifts. So we have to be factual enough to criticize the government based on its manifesto. And leave alone that, there is nowhere written, I have never read in my adult age, you know, where I have seen the one responsibility of the government is to provide jobs. The responsibility of government as an economist for me is to ensure there is a serene environment for investors to come and invest. Even in the olden generation, before these democracies came to be, the kings were only to provide security. You know, hakuna mali imeandikwa kwamba serikali inafaa kutupea kazi. Ni sisi tujipe kazi with the security, with the environment for investments, you know, with everything that the government puts in place to ensure that we get jobs. Yes, in the line of delivering the security apparatus, the other things, there has to be employment, you know, and in the different ministries. But there's nowhere in the constitution ama lu jamaa ulinda mwananchi anionyeshe kwa sheria ya Kenya 2010 constitution kwamba imeandikwa on this article, you know, this line, government must provide jobs for people. But we have to appreciate the fact that in the affordable housing sector, we do not have Indians working there. We do not have Ugandans working there. We only have Kenyans working there.
Okay.
In the road construction, we do not have Tanzanians working there. It is Kenyans working there. So when he's mentioning that the policies implemented by the government of the day has not given Kenyans jobs, then I'm wondering from which planet is this brother of mine is from. But now, getting back to now the media discourse we're having today, I feel that what should happen in a nutshell is the shareholders, the owners of the media, the media companies should remain as shareholders and let the professionalism that is within the media fraternity to take its course. Because what I've grasped from Mwalimu and the convener is very simple, is that politics is getting into the media because of the ownership. The media platforms, they are going extra mile to manifest the interest of their shareholders or the interest of their owners. So that is the only point. And that one can only happen when Kenyans, stand their ground and say that if there is a media house or if there are platforms that are giving skewed information or not educating people, not informing, because like Mheshimiwa mentioned, when it comes to informing, you're supposed to inform whether you like it or not. Just inform. Let the folks make their own judgments. That is what should be happening. When it comes to educate, they should just simply educate. When it comes to entertainment. But when you now bring in ulterior motives and skewed or some outliers in form of interest into now to the media as a professional industry, then it now becomes very bad for us the people. So the most important thing is that let us have a line where now the business bit of it ends at the boardroom.
Okay.
And then whatever is being done, and this one must be articulated by the journalists or the people working within the media fraternity themselves. They should be able to restrict their owners or their business people that, look, you have interests. Those are your interests. For us, we have a profession that we have to protect. Okay. I think that is now where we now draw the line. And like Mwalimu is giving example of Lanas Kakai, it is true. I was also shocked that, that JKIA has not been done, and now they're claiming that it is long overdue, when they're the same people who reported negatively about Adani. Yeah. So on that note, it is true that our journalists should really have to draw the line between their association with their owners or shareholders and what they do as a profession.
That is well put, and thank you so much for that. And I want to bring in the likes of Hina and Mwalimu over there, and I'd love to hear their remarks in regards to what has been said previously, especially around the issue of a lot of negativity in our media today. You turn on your TV and there's a lot of negativity from war to war. I think it is Mheshimiwa who mentioned terrorism, that there's ni kama negativity in ourselves sana today. Is that the case? I know Hina still watches news together with her dad na pia alisema Ambrose. So maybe you could also respond to that tuone, is that the case that is happening today? Because there are people who actually intentionally avoid watching news because of that. Ukifungua tu TV hivi, there's a case of somebody who has died somewhere mysteriously, kuna uwe inafanyika mahali. Don't we also have positive things happening in our country?
Okay, thank you, Tony. Yeah, there's a lot of negativity in their reporting, and I feel like they should regulate it. Do the media houses really know how much they influence the people? Like how much they influence their opinions, the emotions? If they do, why are they reporting in the way that they are doing right now? And then, yes, I still watch news and... Wait, pardon your question.
Okay. See, it was just around that negativity. I think you've captured it very well, that there needs to be balance. I think for me, the point is balance in terms of reporting accurately. You mentioned, for example, the affordable housing program that my friend over there mentions. To him, it seems ni kama affordable housing ni kitu ile ya kupiga mawe hivi peke yake. Si unaona? So I think that is what I'm trying to speak to. Like, could they also capture, for example, the engineers who are there, the architects that do the plans and the drawings, vitu kama hizo? So I think umeiweka tu vizuri. Maybe we can come over to you, Ambrose, and you could also tell us whether the media can set a political agenda.
Basically, the media stand a chance to make this country great, and the fact that it is a democratic country. You see, after multi-party was brought in back in 1992, there is how those who fought for multi-party were behaving. Okay, the entire group, the likes of Orengo, Matiba, Oginga Odinga, Raila, and the likes, which according to Moi, he saw that these guys were not standing on the democracy principles. And there's a time he called them and told them, can you guys stand up and be firm on the democracy principles? It is the same thing with our media. They were given freedom, but it is like they are going even against the freedom that they were given. Okay, and most of the factors leading to that have been said, and Mwalimu and Mheshimiwa Gendo really harnessed that very well. Right now, in regards to media and specifically the KBC, mine will now be to call upon the government to ensure that the funding of KBC or the budget being allocated to the KBC becomes sufficient to enable them to do their work to the latter. Because you realize that perhaps KBC is not doing the work to the latter. That's why people will opt to other media houses like CTZ, KTN, and the likes, because the private media houses have their people almost all over and gather information in as much as they fail to verify them, but the information is always gathered. If KBC can be fully funded to the latter to enable these guys to gather as much information as possible, because for KBC, it has to be verifiable. The information coming from KBC is always verifiable. Then for me, then the media will carry the democracy of this country much ahead, because without the media, because you see, media is a very key pillar of democracy. Okay. Yeah. Now, back to, let me also try to respond to Amani a little bit. just a little. You see, Amani, if you're a university student or university graduate, the reason why you're going to university is not to get a job. You are going to a university because that course you are studying, somebody came up with it and that person was paid. So that one was somebody's work. Okay? The person got paid. So your main work is to ensure that you identify the loopholes within that course in the job market. If you realize that you can fill, that's why at the end of your academic year, you do a project. Your project is to identify a loophole in that subject that you study. Then go and pitch your project to an investor or even to the government. Because the moment you realize all these areas of professional, they are not 100% like perfect. There must be a loopholes with time and with the technology. That is what you're supposed to do. Because if you want to wait until somebody retires so that you get that job, the jobs are limited and they are occupied. Okay? Perhaps because maybe a job like that, let me from my end, like I pursued renewable energy, you realize that this is a course that came into here in Kenya around 2016. That's when most of universities started giving out this course. So you realize most of the people who graduated with my course, they are still young. So that when I want to wait until these people retire, then perhaps I will not get a job until myself I also reach the maximum age. So my main work was to identify where there's a loophole, maybe come up with something that can fix within the system, and that's how I can get a job. Yeah. So don't be busy following Linda Mwananchi. Thank you.
Take advantage of. Okay. Yes, Mwalimu, you can tell us, the media reported the other day that over 100 teachers have been employed by this current regime, and I just wanted to know, how does that make you feel as a training teacher?
Okay, thank you
But
so
you can
much.
also respond. You want to respond also to Amani?
No, that's enough for Amani.
Unajua nimeona akiangalia huko nikashangaa. But just proceed.
No, I wanted to advise him just as a woman because amepata much from the men.
How nice.
You see, I don't think it is really fair if you expect much from the government but you don't support the government. Okay? Because almost half of the room are Luos. And when Baba died, alituacha na njia ya kupita. Alisema ametuacha kwa mikono ya Ruto. See, you guys were claiming that you will only follow what Baba has said. And I'm just so happy that last time we were not with the Ruto, tulimpinga. But he managed to give us a portion. Okay? Because when you wamekuwa employed, including the teachers, people who are employed in the construction sites, I don't think all of them were supporting him. So how about we come together to quit in unity, we support him, then see what he can do. Now that last time we didn't actually support him fully, but he has managed to give us a portion of it. Then I am thinking that now that we've realized that media is not being responsible enough, as we wait for media to fix it, how about we also do something? Because we are also citizens and we should be able to strengthen our media literacy. We should be able to distinguish between facts. We should be able to distinguish facts from opinions and also evaluate critically the information before we take it in.
Wow.
Yes.
That has been so profound. Tumpige makofi jamani. You are very sharp. I believe your students are sharper.
Very sharp.
Yeah. So thank you for that. I think ni wewe tu hujazungumza, then we come to this other side. Unless there's another response yenye sijachukua huku. Kuna mtu anataka kurespond before tumalizie kwa huyu?
Okay, I wanted to ask a question. Now that we mostly rely on the media houses for the news, especially for people back at home, how do we regulate what we consume? Because at home, watafungulia tu Citizen TV, waone a certain thing has been said and they'll believe that. So how do we regulate that?
Okay. I think maybe Faith, you will be...
I think she wants to answer.
I think if she was keen enough, she could have been able to know that I had already answered that question before she asked.
Okay.
Because I said that the only way to go now that you're waiting for the media to fix it is to be able to distinguish facts from opinions, because we are learned enough.
Okay. Media anauliza sasa, like which tools are there, like tools zenye anaweza tumia maybe ama platforms zenye anaweza check on.
Uko ushago.
Anyway.
Okay, she said home. She said home, so I believe we call Nairobi home. So I believe akiwa uko nyumbani with the father.
No, Nairobi is house.
I think they are by the moment.
Oh, okay. So I think that is why we are here, to confront the media and tell them that they should be responsible, because how then do they expect people at home to consume all those misinformations?
Okay, sawa. I think utaongeza tu kidogo. Yes, karibu kiongozi.
Yes, no, thank you. So first of all, I have to confess that the narrative that the police were working alongside goons was sold to me with a good discount that until now I was going to believe it to perpetuity.
Wow. Kizungu cool.
Secondly, I dare say that if we continue from the presentation of our panelists, if we continue in this trajectory, I dare say that we are risking turning a whole media industry into a blogging department.
Clock it.
Thirdly, I have to say that there is a sense in which the news we receive from the media affect the mental health status of a nation. So it is therefore correct for all the journalists that we have to air facts and to avoid any kind of misinformation. Then thirdly, I think it is incumbent upon every patriotic citizen to make sure that it is their responsibility to fact check the information that we receive, engage logically, and air their opinion constructively in a manner that for example, here, we can agree, disagree. Someone came here with the information that, see how many people have been given jobs and they still didn't have the correct figure. So you see, someone can counteract that figure, manipulate your opponent, in fact. They can counteract that figure and feed you a wrong information. Then after all that debate, if he has convinced you, you will still carry around this long information, then go back and spew it to your audience back at home. So it is our own responsibility to make sure that the information that these guys are giving us, is it appropriate? If it is not appropriate, what are the channels that I can use to make sure that someone takes accountability for that misinformation? Yeah. So that is all I have to say. And thank you so much.
Thank you very much, bro. I think you have been very elaborate. Asante sana for that.
And eloquent.
Yeah, he has given us practical steps we can take to ensure that we are not duped. We are not. Umesema you are sold lies at a discount, bro. Yeah, so thank you so much for that, and we implore you to continue in the same way. Na nimefurahia responses zenu. By the way, you have shown mastery of content. You have given us relevant examples. Nyinyi watu mna consume media every day. So that shows that you have done your research. Ndio. Let us continue in the same trajectory. Nataka sasa nikuje to the panelists to give us also their responses to the questions you've asked, but also maybe, I don't know whether it's time watupatie pia their parting shots. I know time is fast spent. Yeah, watupatie hizo, but if you're watching for the first time, hakikisha umesubscribe hapo, by the way. Like, share and comment, and also stay tuned every Saturday from 2:30, sindio? We'll be having similar faces, watu sharp kama hawa, sindio? I know as Gen Zs we normally say we are ready to build Rome in a day, we want to bite more than we can chew, sindio? We want to reap where we have not sown, but anyway, let's start. Yeah, she wants to take what belongs to Caesar. So thank you so much for that. Situjipigie makofi. Yeah. So maybe we can begin with you, Faith, because when you meant to join most recently, ongea na Gen Z. I know you are closest to these Gen Zs.
All right, thank you so much. Hi, Gen Zs. I don't know if that's right to say so. First, I would like to apologize for being late. My name is Faith, and I come from Migori, and I'm a Gen Z. I was on the streets in 2024. Nilikuwa hapo mpaka jioni, nilimwagiliwa maji, nilirushiwa tear gas.
Nilikuona.
Niliona, sindio? Yeah, tuko na evidence. Yeah, so now in this conversation about the media, just what I want to say, and just to respond to you on what you talked about, how we can really moderate. The challenge is that we are a generation of algorithms. If you start feeding your feed with your For You page, with negativity, that is what will pop up in all your platforms. Ukianza kuangalia one term on Facebook, on your TikTok will be one term, on Instagram will be one term. Ukianza kuangalia, kuangalia propaganda, it will be everywhere. And sadly enough, utapata even the people you interact with will be from that side. So automatically your brain itakuwa iko fed na negativity and opposition and propaganda, not the real information. And then another challenge with us that the research we do is on Google. And when you search on Google, itakuletea what people have searched on Facebook. Sahi umesearch hapa REDRING Media, ukiende Google, automatically will take you to REDRING Media Live. So that is not research, that is just confirming. And then unakuja, unaona hata Google imetolewa. So we don't really do enough. And then another thing which I understand us, by the way, on that, I think in Kenya we have become a nation that activism is the trend. And I think it's something as young people you're also inheriting, that for you to gain visibility, you have to start with activism. But now the problem is that we might end up building a people who are more equipped in protest than they are in governance. Ndio maana unajiuliza, huyo mtu time before ingie gava, alikuwa anatutetea. Huyo mtu before apate hii kiti, ulikuwa naongelea hizi vitu. But now that ameingia hapa, mbona asemi? Because we equipped this person in protest, anaweza kutoa nje tuende to protest, but in governance, no. So the media has also inherited that ukipinga, it becomes popular. Sahi ushike mic useme venye Kasongo ameua watu, venye Kasongo ameiba, will be called courageous. Huyo ni kijana ako courageous, you know. And then inakuingia pewe because, you know, people listen to you, people follow you. So it has become something it's a catch for clicks. for more followers, if you just say anything that automatically, we now call it betrayal. Ukisema tu anything that is negative about the government, it becomes popular and you get followers.
Faith, before you proceed, maybe I want to also speak to something that I've also noted online, especially that is in the line of social media, where people are in this kind of rush to gain followers. So for me to gain followers, I'll try to say very polarizing statements about government, about anything, just to appear that I know something and to gain more followers. I think something you're also alluding to.
Yeah, so unapata, because so long as you prove that you're an activist, activism is not bad. Activism imetufanyia vitu nzuri sana. I mean, we got constitutional reforms because of the same activism. But now to the point where we're getting into activism, not for change, but to get clicks. Unapata kila mtu, ukienda kwa media sahi, uanze kusema very, like the moment you can make people angered. Inakuwa zile za, so we share this together. Then now it happens, because of also the algorithm, you will feel like, kwani ni mimi ndo siko angered peke yangu? Unaanza pia kujijudge, you know? It's the same thing. People are going out to protest. Mimi ndio siko, because if you see everyone, you might feel like the world is burning. Because we're on Facebook, unaona hapo watu wamefanya nini. You on Instagram, the same thing on TikTok. So you feel like everyone is outside. I'm the only one mwenye nimebaki. You know, not knowing it's the algorithm. And then now kwenye tumefika. And then you see right now, everyone opposing the government, especially the young people, they want to run for office. So mtu anaingia anasema, so they make activism or opposition their tool. Not going into leadership, because now we want to talk about our issues. We want to, as young people, we need representation there. But we're going because this is the most courageous person. I want to be courageous. You know, I want to go there and oppose the government. So it's us to filter what we take in. For my friend here, I run an organization called Her Village, Her Voice. And I've also worked for different organizations. I started talking about sexual reproductive health rights and gender equality and gender-based violence and women's issues when I was still in campus, when I was just 20 and 19, and teenage pregnancy awareness, all those things. Until now, I've created an organization and it's on running. It's something I'm doing. So you don't have to wait for the government to give you a job. Sometimes we go to school to study a course which you end up not pursuing as a career. True. So it's not the government to come na akwambie because fanya hivi. No, I know I have friends. There are these young people called Ekobana. These guys came up with an idea how to manufacture sanitary towels, to create sanitary towels from banana fibers. And they went into competition. They won $1 million? That is 100 million kind of shillings at that time. And they right now have a company, a factory in Kisii. The government, they got a land there. It's ongoing. And they're doing a very good job. So for us young people, we don't have to wait for the government. Akweke kwa ofisi wenye our parents walikuwa naenda shule. That time things were very different. You were sure that ukipata job, utakuwa civil servant, utaingia hapo ukuwe accountant, and then you work for 60 years na uende upewe pesa yako, uende ushago. You know, it was a straight line. But right now, it's not very that. The same thing also with our Gen Zs. We want those jobs, but sayo unasikia ambia mtu job ya 30,000 ama 20,000. They don't want it. We also don't want to take them. So we have standards of what we want to take. At the same time, we don't want, I can say we have selective amnesia, or we are very selective with what we demand. Because tunasema we want jobs. At the same time, we're giving examples of kitambo watu walikuwa na jobs, unasoma unapata jobs. But those people started at the entry level, una salaries at 3,000. Mwalimu, what were you earning in 1990?
1990.
Yeah.
I wasn't employed. I was first employed in 92, and my salary take home was 7,200.
7,000. You were rich.
Good. You know,
And you?
I was first employed by government as a civil servant, office of the president. I was earning 4,990.
At that time. So you see where they're coming from at that time. But now, Sisi Sai, I want a job as a CEO. I want a job as the director. I want a job as the general manager. I want a job as the contractor of affordable housing or whatever. You know, so we don't want to trust the process. So hizo tunasema ni process to trust. To make trust that we've trusted the process long enough. Now it's the process to trust us. So at some point, Pia, the things that we demand ourselves, we can't give them to ourselves. So before placing the the blame on the government as an individual. What are you doing to help yourself? What are you doing in the little space with education? Chairman failed to mention that same on the Nyota program. The government, there's also the the skills thing, whereby we have in the villages or general, not just even in the urban centers, we have those people kwako unajua kuchange light na ujaenda shule. We have those who can do plumbing very well na wajaenda shule. They already have the skills. So what the government is doing is just certifying them so that to formalize that area. Tumekuwa tukifanya hii, but now you can gain training for some time, then you get certification, then one day these are people that hawajakuwa wakiangaliliwa because now we are focusing on graduates. The same graduates pia tuko na jobs tunataka kutafutiwa. So before you can change, you can select what you want to feed yourself as a young person. Na tupende pia kusoma vitabu, just like I got in when I was saying we watch documentaries and books. We just stop picking things at the face value. Umeona hapa imepostiwa and you pick it like that. Umeona quote mahali and you pick it. Umeona hivi, you know, so we read books, we get information, we watch news, we watch YouTube, tuangalie political education. We do it for ourselves. Unaangalia before this time. Sasa tunasema uchumi imepanda. Do you even know tumefika hapa? And then if you ask people that now tunasema uchumi imepanda, what is the comparison? So that we know tumetoka wapi tukafika wapi. Tunasema rais amechukua madeni mingi. Do we have comparison for the past 5 years? Na sahi the 3 years tumefika or the 4 years. So before just basing things, at least we know where we are coming from and then where we are going from before now to make assumptions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Faith. Makofi, ndio. Umesema vitu mingi sana, I've even seen Amani shaking his head in agreement and perhaps the topic here, unemployment, is something maybe we can consider in the coming days, and we'll invite you, Amani, so that we, together with the rest of you, so that we talk about it. Sindio, tujue shida, by the way, kwa wapi kuhusu history na unemployment. We might be making a lot of noise, by the way, and you find that saa zingine hata si necessary, sindio. You've also alluded to the fact that lazima tusome kama Gen Z, sindio. And I know some Gen Zs, by the way, when wanataka kazi, not to sustain the, but nataka iPhone. So ata work for 3 months, apata iPhone yake, hataki kukaa hapo sana, si ndio? So how do we handle such cases? Kuna mtu pia maybe anataka tu aende to a better house. So thank you so much, Faith, for painting a picture of what that looks like, and also the way the media has been able to portray that. And then finally, no, not finally, second last, si ndio? Naweza kuja kwako mheshimiwa, you talk to us. I know your salary was 4,900 and something, but hapo sasa hiyo survive now.
Yes, because I believed the lie that, but during my time it wasn't a lie, that you go to school, you go to the university so that you get a job. But I think that needs to be debunked. It is today a lie that needs to be discarded at the earliest opportunity. Go to the university, get your skills, make use of your skills to earn a living. It is hard, but it is a practical approach rather than hoping against hope that you'll be employed. The second thing, or the other thing I want to say is I cannot talk about media accountability or media role in Kenya without mentioning the Standard Media Group that has of late been very notorious on putting up very destructive headlines. The cunning Ruto, the lying Ruto, and all manner of headlines that are meant to paint the head of state in bad light. I know and have been made to understand that the beef between Standard Media and the president's administration is because there is a pending debt that the government incurred that has not been paid. And I think it is important to realize and point out that when this debt was incurred, President Ruto was not in the office. So you cannot pick beef with me because another person borrowed your money and has not paid, and you want to pin me down that, I mean, you want to bastardize me that I have not paid when you had a chance to ask for your payment then. So I think the standard media is missing it. And the other thing is regulation of media. This is the responsibility of Media Council of Kenya. And I think Media Council of Kenya has been too docile on the media houses. I know membership of the Media Council of Kenya is also the Media Owners Association. So it is hard for them to regulate themselves. And I think citizens have a duty to call out the rogue media houses because, like somebody said, they are stressing the community, they're stressing the population with negativity. And last but not least is the media still has a very important role to play in the building of a country or of a nation, because they influence public opinion and public perception and even international opinion. The more you paint your country in bad picture, the more the people who are not there believe you with your bad painting and makes an opinion of that country and make decisions based on those opinions. So you scare away investors into your country because of your vendetta with the administration. The media will make or break a country. We've seen what happened in Rwanda. We've seen what happened in other countries. So we need responsible media that can help us build our country by painting a positive picture on our country so that we can attract investors, not scare them. Thank you.
Asante sana. Round of applause for Mheshimiwa. You have put it in a very nice manner, and I think for me what stood out also is the role of the Media Council of Kenya, but also the interference by the Media Owners Association. I think what happens is that we see the Media Council of Kenya like leaning more towards the welfare of the journalist and disregarding the role of responsible journalism and the accountability of the media. That aside, I think finally we can invite Mwalimu or the convener to close it all for us for today.
Good. But I've heard you talk about the Media Council. It has no teeth because it consists of the very media houses. And if there is anything that can make you disobey lawful authority, including breaking the laws of the land, it is financial inducement. I have told you, the media is not rogue because it wants to make money on sensational headlines. The media is rogue because somebody has captured them with money, and it is big money. You know, this is the country where a president can disappear with the whole Eurobond of 260 billion. And when the Auditor General questions an asomewa in public, something that cannot happen during the Ruto regime, it cannot. That very media will chase him 1 hour. You know, in my opening remarks, I told you the media sets the agenda and frames the narrative. There's a time they just decided to set the agenda on abductions. Now that it is no longer selling so much, they came up with the agenda on goons. One thing you need to know in this country, that goons did not begin with the last general election. And goons did not belong to any political formation or politician. Goons are those people you see hanging around in Dandora, in Kibra, everywhere, including in town. All you just need is to hire them. It's only that they have already organized themselves into groups. So if I want goons, I look for their leader. I tell them I want 60 people to go to this place to demolish this, or go to this place and chase people away. They will not ask you who is their boss. They just want to know what to do, where to do it, and who is paying them. So if the goons come when they are arrested, tell you that I was sent by Ovidi, that one is lying. If I wanted goons, I would not let them know who is behind it. One of my orderlies will call their leader and tell them, in this place, we want this number of people to do this kind of job. The payment is 1,000 per person, after or before or tomorrow. That's how they do. So do not be cheated by the media narrative that there's some government that owns narratives. Goons, or some leader who owns goons. Nobody owns goons. I have a very interesting example. Sometimes when Raila Odinga was still alive, there was the case of Fafa Memorial Hall in Kisumu under the Luo Council of Elders. So one day I decided with my faction of the Luo Council of Elders to invade Fafa Hall. And I got the goons, and I got my Council of Elders, and we invaded the hall. We signed the visitors book. We addressed the press conference there and went away. When I was sitting in my hotel having lunch with the Wazes, I saw his opponent with the same goons I had there. Same ones, they didn't even go away. Because when the guy who was taking that was there called them, they said, just come, you'll find us there. So the same guy who got them for me, got them for that Mzee, and the same people. And they earned twice that day. So do not be cheated goons around by anybody. Nobody owns them. But if I want a Luo-speaking goon, I know who to call in Nairobi. If I want Kamba-speaking goons, I know who to call maybe in Embakasi. If I want lawyer-speaking goons, I know who to call in Kangemi or Kawangware. That's how it works. So do not be cheated by propagandists that, oh, these are so-and-so's goons, that's the ones found. There are nothing like that. There was a case here where we had a discussion on the budget here at All Saints Cathedral. You remember?
Yeah.
Why would you discuss a political issue in a church? It was organized. The organizers of that meeting are also the ones who hired the goons. And they came here. Do not be cheated that policemen were seen in the neighborhood. These policemen, if they are two on the road there, and they meet you 50 people going somewhere ready to fight, they will not touch you. They will not even ask you a question. Because they also have lives. Do not be cheated. I saw even in Kissing Day, somebody was saying, oh, these people are stoning politicians and the police are just watching. Two policemen, what can they do? People carrying machetes, stones, and sticks and throwing. They can't do anything. They can only call for backup. And they must pretend that they have no issues. We have seen policemen being stoned to death on the roads in uniform with a gun lying a meters apart. So people talk like policemen are some magic people wearing Goliath type body armor who can one person arrest the whole crowd in town. It can't. It can't. People just believe such narratives because they choose to. But very important, there's framing a story. And I have to give you an example. Once upon a time, President William Ruto went to Dagoretti North to launch something. And during that launch, he said, kuna watu ambayo wanaenda maandamano, wanavunja maduka, wanafunga barabara, wanapiga polisi. Watu kama hao, pigeni risasi ya mguu, waende hospitali wakigoja koti. Wasn't that what the president said? But what did the media report? The president has ordered the police to shoot protesters in the legs. And nobody saw that kind of framing of the story. And somebody who wants to say, I want to fact check, they started playing the president's voice from watu kama hao pigeni risasi ya mguu. They didn't say those who break shops, those who burn buildings. They didn't say play that. Citizen did play that. So they can frame the story in such that if you look for the truth in it, you see. But if you look for the lie in it, it is omitted, you can't see. So be very careful. And then, people have been saying that the president promised this before the election and he has not done it. Tell me any president who did the things he promised, even half. Uhuru Kenyatta came with something called the Big Four agenda. This affordable housing we are doing today was in it. Universal healthcare, which we have brought today, was in it. We even launched it in Kisumu. Food security, which we are now doing, Galana Kulalu, affordable fertilizer, was in the Uhuru's agenda, Big Four agenda. And manufacturing was in the Uhuru's Big Four agenda. None took place. And you are here saying Ruto lied. And during campaigns, we make statements. There's a covenant. There's a written manifesto which is binding. Then there is pep talk. Then there is make people laugh. Then there are all sorts of stories. All of them cannot be binding that we must go with it. What you go with is what is in the manifesto, written agreement between the people and the person seeking office. But again, if you become president and 3 months later people on the streets demanding lower cost of living, at a budget hujasoma, at a PS hujaswear in, will you deliver? When people force you to stop a budget that you are going to use to deliver, will you deliver? People are telling us that President William Ruto has engaged in abductions, has engaged in murders, forced disappearances. I don't want to compare this with what happened during Uhuru because you know. But I want to tell you, the president does not order the police while they're in the streets do this. The same police force that Ruto has today is the same one Uhuru had. Ruto's first policemen were engaged in 2025 towards the end. These were Uhuru, Kibaki's, Kenyatta, and Moi's policemen. They are the ones who kill people on the streets. The way they were killing them during Kibaki, the way they were killing them during Uhuru. But this one, because it is a conspiracy of a person who is not liked by the oligarchs, person that's not liked by the cartel, they want to say is killing people in the streets. What is the police supposed to do with a gun? Protect life and property. Wasn't Uganda House set on fire? It was set on fire. Wasn't Parliament breached with parliamentarians inside? The ones that probably needs to be protected. Weren't policemen stoned inside trucks to Kiona? You wanted that we have a protest where policemen are stoned, houses are burnt, and then nobody dies. That is when you have a good president. I know there are many people in the streets who are innocent. They didn't kill anybody. They didn't breach anything. They didn't set Uganda House on fire. There was a building there. These ones, they do exhibitions where 6 people were burnt inside their life by the protesters during Gen Z. How does the police know who is a genuine protester and who is a goon within those on the streets on that day? Let us be factual. Let us be fair. It is not the president who orders. In fact, these people know who to sue. If you can take the president to court and you know police has committed a crime, why don't you also do that? Because you have taken the president to court and he has stopped the things he's doing. Now, finally, I'm sorry to go back to this small thing. This small thing was the idea of employment. Employment is not manufactured in a factory and delivered to shops or delivered to people in their villages. The projects Ruto is going with now, ESP markets are 100. Assuming they will just employ maybe 30 people. How many are those? How many people will you employ in Talanta, Bomas International Conference Center? Very many. Including the projects that are still coming, including the ones that will be direct, indirect. So employment, don't even talk about it. Actually, Ruto underestimated. You should have said, I will create 5 million jobs. Create, not manufacture, not give. Once a job it is created, it is upon you to take it. Whether you take it through your tall relative, whether you take it by your education, whether you take it by being the correct place at the correct time, where you take it by starting a business that leverages on that project, now that one is yours to deal with. And so, ladies and gentlemen, you will allow me to say one last thing and go away. There are opinion sets that are organized by the media where they call him and him and him and him and they talk on TV and go away. I want you to watch how those media houses handle those who support the government and those who oppose the government. Yeah. You will notice those who support the government are even helped. Their sentences are completed for them, those who oppose the government. And those who support the government will not even be led to complete one sentence. Recently, there was a discussion on Citizen TV by Oweno, the former police spokesperson, and one abductee and some other guy, and the moderator was Trevor Obija. This guy talked how the police did this to him. So when Oweno came to find out what is he saying clearly and started asking him, did they do this? Trevor jumped up and said, this guy is not here for trial. How are you going to respond to him when you don't understand his question? Because he wants it to go as he has said. He doesn't want what the guy has said on air to be challenged. So the media bias, you will only see when you open your inner eye from today to see. Watch how it is done. You can find a set of 6 people. All of them are anti-media. Even the host chooses to help them complete sentences or even remind them of what they are forgetting. Thank you.
Thank you so much Thank you so much, Mwalimu, for that. I think there's nothing much really to add to that. We have had a very robust discussion here as regards responsible journalism and media accountability. And we've been able to notice from the presentations that a story matters, who tells them, how they are told, how many times they are told, and when they are told, Cindy. So at this juncture, we want to call it a day. We want to thank our production team for staying with us, from Harold to Nyagol, Maurice and Jamal. Thank you so much for the assistance and the kindness. If you have been watching also, thank you so much for joining us today. As we conclude this discussion today, our clarion call is to you to check whatever news you're consuming. When you open your TV today, look beyond the headlines. Check who stands to benefit from it and dig deeper as to understand what really might have informed that kind of a headline. Also, let us take time to verify the information that we consume. And also, before we share any information, let us verify so that we don't then end up misleading other people. My name is Tony Blair. That has been face-to-face with Gen Z today. And we hope to see you same time next week. Asante sana.
Wow. Now we can continue.
This is REDRING TV.
Hey, my name is Jalang, Member of Parliament, Langata constituency, and I am in the REDRING TV.
Mambo vipi watu wangu wa nguvu, kama kawaida ni kijana wako kaka J.
Kwa majina naitwa Honorable Clinton Nyawanga.
President. Make sure that you subscribe.
Kwamba siku zote tune in into REDRING Media ili uweze kupata uondo wote.
Kindly like, follow na pia comment
and press that notification button so that you can be able to enjoy beautiful interviews.